Truth Unveiled here, and today I'm going to be talking about something that has yet to be covered. It has to do with Mr. Obama and what he just did for his 55th B-Day, because I'm here from a report on the Washington Post that says the 44th at 55, because yes, a few days ago was Mr. Obama's 55th, and the reason I'm talking about this is this post has nothing to do with his actual B-Day, but more to do with more draconian laws that your president and that your government is signing into office without you knowing, because I don't even think this got any coverage whatsoever, but we're going to cover it today. And while Mr. Obama only has about 24 weeks left in office, we know that between now and these next 24 weeks, it's only going to get worse from here. And we're already seeing that with all of the militarization of the police, not to mention the United Nations and how they're literally getting ready to bring in their forces to America. And we're already seeing the preparations of that. But we're also been seeing so-called terrorism uptick and increase like never before on an unprecedented level, as well as all of the riots and the race wars that are going on too, that are being perpetrated by George Soros and all those other elite Zionists at the very top. So then it's no surprise or a coincidence that the same day that Mr. Obama turns 55 is the same exact day that he released this notice out to the public officially from the White House Office of the Press Secretary, where it says, "Notice continuation of the national emergency with respect to export control regulations." And we're going to go over it, and we're going to be reading between the lines so you can see exactly what this means. Because while your mainstream media continues to brainwash you with things that honestly do not matter and with programming that does not matter at this point, meanwhile your government and military are militarizing like never before and getting ready for the FEMA camps and pushing draconian laws in order to justify what they are doing. And this is just one of the many examples. Now we're going to go over this notice, and then we're also going to go over this letter as well. But it says continuation of the national emergency with respect to export control regulations. And while they're telling you that it has to do with export control and it has to do with commerce, that's what they're telling you, we're going to see what it's really talking about. But it says on August 17th, 2001, back when George Bush was president, consistent with the authority provided to the president under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, or the IEEPA, the president, and this is talking about George W. Bush, issued Executive Order 13222, which is unconstitutional, by the way, but let's keep going. In that order, he declared a national emergency with respect to the unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States in light of the expiration of the Export Administration Act, or the EAA of 1979, as amended. Because the EAA had not been renewed by the Congress, the national emergency declared on August 17, 2001 must continue in effect beyond August 17, 2016. Therefore, in accordance with Section 202D of the National Emergencies Act, or the NEA, which I'm going to take you to in just a second, I am continuing for 1 year the national emergency declared in Executive Order 13222 as amended by Executive Order 13637. And then it also says that this notice shall be published in the Federal Register and transmitted to the Congress. And now the actual letter says, which is from a text of a letter from the president to the Speaker of the House of Representatives and the President of the Senate, it says, "Dear Mr. Speaker," or "Dear Mr. President, Section 202D of the National Emergencies Act provides for the automatic termination of a national emergency unless within 90 days prior to the anniversary date of its declaration, the President publishes in the Federal Register and transmits to the Congress a notice, which we just read, stating that the emergency is to continue in effect beyond the anniversary date. In accordance with this provision, I've sent to the Federal Register for publication the enclosed notice stating that the national emergency declared in Executive Order 13222 in light of the expiration of the EAA of 1979 is to continue in effect for 1 year beyond August 17, 2016. So what that means is we're under a national emergency until August 17th, 2017. Do you know what that means? And yes, they're trying to tell you that, oh, it has to do with commerce, and oh, it has to do with export control, and oh, that's all it has to do with. But is there something bigger going on is the question. And just so that you get a better idea of the context behind all this, I'm going to be taking you to Executive Order 13222, which is the continuation of export control regulations that your lovely president, Mr. George W. Bush, has signed into office unconstitutionally, by the way. But we're going to go over that. Then later on, I'm going to tell you how they're getting ready and preparing like never before. But what they need to do is have a national emergency in order to declare martial law. Well, if we're already under a national emergency, couldn't they just declare martial law without telling you? Is that what they're about to do? Let's find out. And so here it says that I, George W. Bush, President of the United States of America back in late 2001, find that the unrestricted access of foreign parties to U.S. goods and technology and the existence of certain boycott practices of foreign nations in light of the expiration of the Export Administration Act of 1979, and we're briefly going to go over that, as amended, constitute an unusual and extraordinary threat to the national security, foreign policy, and economy of the United States, and hereby declare a national emergency with respect to that threat, because there's always a threat in America too. And by the way, this executive order was released just a few weeks before 9/11. Did Mr. Bush know something about 9/11 that you didn't know? Let's find out, and let's keep going, because it says, accordingly, in order to exercise the necessary vigilance over exports and activities affecting the national security of the U.S., and to further significantly the foreign policy of the United States, including its policy with respects to cooperation by U.S. persons with certain foreign boycott activities, and to fulfill its international responsibilities, and to protect the domestic economy from the excessive drain of scarce materials and reduce the serious economic impact of foreign demand, is hereby ordered as follows. And it gives you 3 different sections of how this order is to be executed. And as you can see in section 1, it says that it can be carried out under this order so as to